I'm Boots.
And I'm Heels. We really decided what our topic subject was going to be, our talking point subject was going to be this week. And we've been laughing and we've been
I thought it was going to be my new glasses because I have bifocals and I can't see a gosh darn thing. I'm trying to get used to them. What do you think about my new glasses?
I really love them. Okay. I really do. I really do. So I call it a smear campaign, actually. That's really all it is. I mean, an investigation. I actually correct people when they say investigation. I go, what do you mean, the smear campaign?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it was.
It wasn't a real investigation. The Department of Justice and the FBI and the CIA have become weaponized entities for the Democratic Party. So there is no real investigation. There's nothing but hearsay and manipulation of people and anything to get people emotionally engaged where they don't like something, because that's what we've become in our society.
Absolutely true. New York Times and CNN, they both jumped onto it immediately. I mean, it's crazy. In February 2017, you remember this, the report came out that, that Trump and his entire, anybody associated with him was colluding with Russia to try to get information on Hillary Clinton and her campaign running against him.
And actually it's been the longest running diversionary tactic used for political purposes in the history of America. I mean, Watergate wasn't like this. Nothing has been like this. And people don't realize that the left's ability to have complete control and manipulation over what disinformation they put out there, it's really very scary. People should be very afraid of that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder that that they knew that there's quite a possibility that he would basically uncover something on Hillary to begin with. Or why would they even touch on that? I mean, think about it. Why would they even open up what I always call open up a can of worms anyway?
Right. Well, they spent years and hundreds of millions of dollars of your stolen wages to propagate something of their own agenda. Yeah.
So. There you go. I mean, so it starts with that, and then of course, all the news network, not all of them, but most of them jumped in on it, and they went with a story that, and gosh, I mean, this ranged from from not only just 2016, but all the way into 2020.
Yeah, I mean, they're even doing it now. I mean, they're still trying to spin the same BS. They're still trying to create hate for Trump, hate for Trump supporters, or anyone actually that believes in truth and freedom. They really want to stamp all of that out. So the best way to do that is to create dislike, anger, and to vilify groups of people.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, when you have your news outlets that are really more interested in now, even though it's been exposed that there's no truth to any of it, really. They couldn't find any evidence.
Well, and isn't it funny that there are retractions? The retractions that they've recently done, saying, "Oh, guess what? There was no truth to the dossier." Oh, really? But
that took forever for that to happen.
That took years, and they still don't really. They say this much, and
they're leaving a hint that it's still, that they just don't really want to believe that it's true. Even being provided with the reports that actually show that, they still really just don't want to completely agree that it was false. So they keep leaving that little hint in there and suspicions, and also embellishing and exaggerating conspiracy theories on how it could still be true, but they want to pat themselves on the back and say they're kind of toning it down, I guess, in a way. But that's not really what's happening. They have done this since day one, and the truth of the matter is they found out that they reported false information, and they would rather covet the lie. Covet the lie. And I find out, that there's a lot of people like that too. Once they find out the truth about something, they'd rather covet the lie than to expose that their first initial thought process was wrong. Well, I mean, what's wrong with just saying you're wrong?
Right. Well, the propaganda machine knows that how strong the power of suggestion is. And the spoken word, a phrase or an idea can be put out there, and people will receive that. And then the more it's repeated, it sticks in here. And so people may accept it as truth, even though it is blatantly a lie.
Yeah. You know, my point. They really just would rather just keep doing. I mean, they've done everything to this family since day one. I mean, you got a man. Sure, he's probably not perfect. I wouldn't say he's perfect.
He's not perfect, but golly, I like him.
I do too. Yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with imperfection because we all have it. But in reality, I mean, I just can't seem to get over the fact that they are not, you know, considering basically letting the entire public know that every bit of that was untrue. But if they did that, then it's also going to have people probe into why they did it in the first place. And my thought and theory on that, you know, is really just that, listen, you know, there was a lot of things true when it comes to the swamp. And I think they were really scared of the exposure that, you know, we're finding and have been finding trickling down through here, that, yeah, there really is a swamp in place, and there is a lot of mucky water down there.
Yeah, there's
I wouldn't
muck.
want to go to the bottom of that pond ever.
No,
but I think we have, actually. I think we're getting close to the bottom of that pond.
I don't even think crawdads could live at the bottom of that pond.
I don't think a salamander could make it in that muddy water. I mean, it's just crazy. But, you know, how awful that you have a sitting president. Actually, I don't even like the word sitting president. Do you? Because he never sit.
No,
he literally
was
stood
always,
up and actually did something for America. Think about this. This is how bad the hate is for our President Trump, and I still call him that. It's so bad that literally, when has it ever been a bad thing that you would be able to do what he's done and bring all of these people together? You've seen rallies like this? Have you ever seen people that Make America Great Again rallies where people just get together and congregate?
Tremendous.
And I'm talking, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. You know, I haven't seen that with any president, and I don't know when almost. I mean, it's been forever.
And because of that, you had, you know, the propaganda machine that's fueled by the left go into hyper mode in convincing non-patriotic, non-critical thinking Americans that their emotional desires are superior to necessity and the importance of things being done for our country and its citizens.
Yeah, very self-absorbed.
I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that would ever be a thing?
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is the thing is the thing.
Yeah, right? Until it's not a thing.
Until it's not a thing. I mean, my goodness. I mean, really stop and think about that. I mean, here we have a man who had really kind of, you know, didn't even accept the money that comes along with being, you know, obviously, yeah, sure, he's rich, and people just want to throw that to the wayside and say, well, you know, he's rich, he didn't need it anyway. But he did the best he could at, you know, delivering it to places that needed it. And, you know, just to prove to the American people, this is about you, and this is definitely not about the money. And, you know, he did make America great again.
Right.
And I can't believe the hate that's surrounding the people every time they hear that it infuriates them so much. Why would the word MAGA infuriate anybody?
Right.
When you make America great again. And I miss him, and I wished he was back.
Well,
and you know, a man that wants to stand up to the flag instead of kneel for it, and, you know, and fight for the rights and all the blood that was shed by our veterans out there to fight for America, and then you have this going on. I mean, this is just crazy.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you have a whole segment of our population that's emotionally engaged easily, and you know, the media propaganda machine has done nothing but hammer away and make emotional ties between Trump and hate and disgust. There's nothing that this man could do right, even though he did some really, really wonderful things. And they just hammered away at him the whole entire time. And it didn't matter if it was a lie, if it was a hint.
No, it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, if anything that they could do to create
it's crazy.
to vilify President Trump, they did. And they still do, because they are terrified of President Trump, and they're terrified of the people that elected President Trump, as they should be, because if we all stand together, they lose control.
We obviously are not happy with the results of this election. There's no question about that. I don't believe in the results of this election, but what do you do? I mean, we can do what we can.
Well, all we can do is talk about it. We can talk about it like we do. And we can, you know, spread this information, because a lot of people just don't understand. I mean, they sit at home and they're like, something's just not right with this, but I just don't understand. The more we talk about it, the more we look each other in the eye and we tell the truth, the more people can get it.
Imagine when you are out there and you have such a responsibility, and yet you use that responsibility to forward a narrative that is actually causing so much division, and instead of even accusing yourself or saying, that you are responsible for that, you every single thing goes back to that it's President Trump's fault.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're saying the division is his fault too.
Yeah, well,
and I thought he united us.
Yeah,
I don't think he divided us.
We're ruled by a party of narcissistic sociopaths that want to punish anybody who doesn't fall in line with them. I mean, we see it every day. We see it in the media. We see it everywhere we look. We see people like Pelosi that absolutely do nothing for the people that put them in office. They're supposed to protect the Constitution and Bill of Rights and stand up for America. They're supposed to protect our borders. Instead, they have done nothing for years other than try to engage people emotionally in hate for something that's completely not what they stand for.
I mean, look at the State of the Union address. I mean, how much more blatant disrespect could you have than to shred that document on national television behind the back of the President of the United States of America? I mean, I almost don't have words.
Yeah, but I mean, those are just things that.
I mean, but it's blatant.
It's very blatant.
I mean, it's basically saying we're doing this and we're doing it. We're not doing it and hiding it either. We're doing it out in front of you. Right. See what you can do.
They have no shame.
I mean, that's the truth. So, look what they did to him about his locker room conversation in 2005. Like, that really matters. Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
I mean, who gives a...
I would hate to think...
I probably said worse things.
Oh,
I probably said
okay.
worse things to you.
I have probably earlier today even. And grow up.
I mean...
Whoopie-doo. I mean, does it really matter that much what somebody said years ago?
No, it doesn't.
In closed company, and they had no idea if they were going to be representing the citizens of the United States.
Okay, so let's just recap a little bit. So, right out of the gate, we have the Russian collusion situation. I mean, smear campaign, as we've talked about.
Smear campaign.
It really
and Hillary email smokescreen.
There you go. That's exactly true. And then right around the corner, you have the New York Times and you have CNN, who immediately jumped on board in February 2017, reported that Trump and his entire company were having conversations with Russia and alluding to a whole bunch of stuff surrounding that, which was obviously, again, we know not true. And CNN, of course, jumped in. And again, it just goes back to, they want to protect their initial report that they say they received. I'm sure that they were all in it together.
Right. Well, it was an anonymous source.
Yeah.
It was BS.
When did anonymous sources become absolute news that you would deliver that to the entire world, and then and you do it to the entire world, and you do it to a president, that your president, the president, your commander in chief, you want it to be bad news. They wanted to fry him. They wanted to find something on him and dig. Now, you know how deep-seated the hate would have to be for you to want to find something on your president so bad. They were so pissed off that he won against Hillary, and which, yes, I believe it was quite a shock, because I believe that they probably had it all set up for her to win, and then when they didn't, it was like, holy cow, there's a lot of people that love this man, and we weren't banking on that. That's what I think. Imagine the hate you have to want something so bad to build that kind of story, and then stick with it even after they've been delivered report after report that it's not true, that they'd rather stick with that story than actually say we were wrong and that's not what happened, and look around at all the good that President Trump did. Heck no, they got to stick with their story because they want to feel good about what they did initially.
Well, they don't want anyone to actually pinpoint the fact that they're liars and manipulators, and it's all psychological, emotional manipulation. And there's power of suggestion, which advertisers use, and then there's manipulation, and those are two different things. And the American public is being manipulated by the Democrats and the propaganda machine, which is the media.
They think it's a bad thing. that we got together and we had rallies, and then, we had that camaraderie, and we had, gosh, you go to a Razorback football game, you want to see people in unity and raising their hand and calling the hogs, and, you want to see that. And when did it become such a terrible thing that happened? And when did that become a terrible thing?
When did being patriotic become a negative thing that the left spins as hate? When has being a patriot of the United States of America and patriotic and loving your country and loving your flag and loving all the principles that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights stand for, when has that been a bad thing?
The same day that it became okay to burn a flag in the streets of America and then disguise it and say, well, it's just freedom of expression, and we're the unheard, we're the unsung, when we're just trying to express ourselves. That's when it became a thing. I mean, think about it. You can burn the American flag in the streets of America, and that is basically thrown out there by the Democrats as, they have something to say. I just think, we're mad.
We are mad as hell, and we are not going to take it anymore.
Right, we are. And, yeah, absolutely. So, we knew that we were going to get kind of, it was going to rile us up just a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of a touchy subject, this whole propaganda thing, because how can anybody make an informed decision on anything when they're never being told the truth?
Yeah, and that's a sad fact right there. But anyway, we are glad that you joined us, and we'd love to have your comments, and we'd love for you to go over to our YouTube channel and actually subscribe for us, because that actually helps us out quite a bit. Obviously, we have redbootsandheels.com. We'd love you to go over there. We actually did another rescue this morning. Tried to do it yesterday and kind of failed at it a couple of times in a couple of attempts, but I'll be glad to show her to you. So I'm going to grab her over here.
Missy.
Come here, baby. And this is her. And her name is Missy, and I'll just kind of
look at the camera, baby. She's like
I'm camera shy, and she's been kind of sitting in here with us too because she has a little bit of separation anxiety. Her parent died a couple months ago, and it was the story I got was that I guess she was going over to the store across the busy highway. I actually almost seen her get hit yesterday, and I did try to retrieve her last night to no avail, and then I had to go back again for a second attempt this morning, and I was able to get her, and we're going to figure out some place for her to go. She needs to be she loves children, actually, and she's very well behaved. She's spayed already, and she's had all of her shots and everything, and I think her mama took really good care of her. So we'll do the best we can at finding a home for her, and we'll post her on our website at redbootsandheels.com, and we'd love to hear from you. So please put some comments, if you're watching our podcast, put some comments in and tell us what you think, and we'd love to hear from you. And I think we're going to start posting maybe some of those comments, and so we'd like to give you the opportunity to have your voice heard too, because that's important.
Be nice.
Yes.
Be nice.
Yeah. Be nice, but we're okay. We're big girls, and we can handle a whole lot of stuff. So, we're aggravated, just probably like probably 80, 90 million or more other Americans are. And but we're not going to go out and destroy buildings because we are. We're going to act like grown-ups, and we're not going to do those things. We don't need to do that. We got jobs, and we've got to, act right. So we do appreciate you joining us, and I guess this is it for till the next time that we talk to you. So again, goodbye.
Bye-bye.